Stand by. The program will begin soon.
There's an example yesterday I saw of this woman who's been here. I mean, we might even play this clip. She's been here 20 years. She has 3 kids who were born here. Her kids are because of birthright citizenship, which is another subject that's coming up. And she never bothered to even try to resolve her immigration status. Not in 20 years. She has never tried to resolve her immigration status. Not through Republican presidents, not through Democratic presidents, nothing. And so now, she's worried about being deported because they put out the sob story of this woman. Well, that's not the average person they're even looking at right now. The average person they're looking at, crossed in the last 3 years, are CNN is cutting jobs to embrace the digital future. No, they're cutting jobs because, as I like to say, they suck. CNN is undergoing a significant restructuring, planning to lay off about 200 employees, which constitutes approximately 6% of its workforce. This move is part of a broader strategy under CEO Mark Thompson to pivot towards a digital-first approach, focusing on expanding digital subscriptions and reducing costs from traditional TV operations. Wait a minute. Didn't they already try the CNN subscription service, which failed miserably? Which, if you truly have compassion for trans kids, you would allow them to all go through puberty, because 90% of kids who think they're trans change their mind once they go through puberty. That puberty is the fix for most of the problems. But you guys want the medicalization of kids and sterilization of kids and medical and surgical altering of kids who can't make that decision at 12 years old or 13 years old. Diablo asks, why is it when I try to show empathy and concern, people always misconstrue it? Last time I asked someone if their mom at least got a good check from the clinic that botched the abortion. Oh! Oh, God. Damn it, AD. I think you just need to find a gentle rate.
Stand by. The program will begin soon.
I would be willing to bet everything I own that submitting a 22-minute video montage that shows the most egregious acts of violence you can find from that day, when the defendant in question is on that video for only 6 seconds and is seen walking calmly, is highly prejudicial and a violation of the defendant's due process rights. The person was found guilty and sentenced to 19 months in prison. Now, it took 2 hours to read through all of the documents that were in the case file. Every motion submitted by the defendant was denied. Every motion by the defendant was denied. How often does that happen? And every motion submitted by the government was granted. They turned a trespass misdemeanor that would have resulted in a $50 ticket into 5 misdemeanors and a felony charge by charging the defendant with a statute that would have required the Secret Service to rope off the section he was in, which they did not. They also charged him with a statute that would have been required them to prove Mike Pence was in the building at the time he walked through that corridor. He was not. And finally, they used an Enron statute that the Supreme Court struck down. If you accept a pardon, you are admitting guilt. Period. That's the, because you can't be pardoned if you're not guilty.
Whether he can preemptive pardon, whether he can issue President's reportedly asking his staff whether he can issue preemptive pardons for himself, his family members, Rudy Giuliani. There's a simple answer: no. No, Mr.
Oh,
President. That
you
would be
can't?
a gross abuse
Oh,
of the presidential
it's a
pardon authority.
gross abuse of presidential pardon authority. Well, there you go. You accepted a pardon, Adam Kinzinger. You think you may have committed a crime. Oh, here, Jamie Raskin. Dirty Q-tip. Dirty Q-tip, Jamie Raskin. What else? What did he have to say?
Well, the seeking of pardons is
Yes, it's only on
powerful
one side.
demonstration of the consciousness of guilt, or
Ah,
at least the consciousness that you may be in trouble.
Jamie
And that's
Raskin.
what's so shocking
Did he
about
get a
this.
pardon also? Wasn't he on
Well,
that
the
committee?
seeking of pardons is
He was on that committee. I'm curious if you're going to condemn that part. Are you going to condemn that pardon?
Joe Biden pardoned a lot of people. Yeah, he should answer for that and explain.
Lots of murderers, lots of drug dealers, lots of people who killed people, commuted the sentence of a couple murderers. One drug dealer who people died from taking the drugs that they sold them.
Stand by. The program will begin soon.
The Obama Aniston rumors have gone wild. Rumors have emerged on social media that suggest Barack and Michelle Obama might be heading towards divorce, with speculators thinking Barack Obama to actress Jennifer Aniston. Those rumors have gained traction following Michelle Obama's absence from Jimmy Carter's funeral and the inauguration, and are based on tabloid stories and social media speculation without solid confirmation from the individuals involved. So far, they're still rumors, and I don't know why people are perpetuating them, but it is kind of fun to perpetuate rumors like that. No one's come out to, out and out deny anything. That's the weird part.
We should just take a deep breath and acknowledge the audacity.
The audacity!
Of a president who's so clearly concerned about his own criminal culpability.
Oh my God, his own criminal culpability and his son's business dealings. I know that they're talking about Joe Biden, aren't they?
And that of his family members.
Black the Boy asks, are cats really soul suckers? Yes. Yes. That's why I'm not into cats. Dogs, man. I'm a dog guy. Havocado Stabby, is there an aisle in the grocery store that is less objectionable to have sex in? Where do you come up with this shit? Dude.
Has done something no person in the world has ever done before. A dead man, a dead politician has risen.
Yes.
Somebody who 4 years ago at Davos, he's buried, a dead.
And I wonder how many people at Davos have been funding Donald Trump's demise that has failed. I wonder how many people at Davos, again, let me say it again. I wonder how many people at Davos have been funding what they had hoped would be Trump's demise. Bet you there's a few of them there. And it didn't work, did it now? Didn't work now, did it?
Politically known to me. He's now returned. This is the greatest comeback in political history of a politician. And then, therefore, he thinks he can do anything.
At the end of the show, every day on my show, if I put something on the screen or I'm talking about it or it's a topic or an article that I'm presenting in this show, I provide links to every single thing that I've talked about, and even more, the ones I didn't even get to. I drop them in the chat at the end of the show, and also I drop them in the description. So if you want to find these articles, they will be in the links at the end of the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Night.
Hey-oh! Yeah, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Night on the internet. Welcome back to the P-Dog Night channel, where, you know, sometimes they figure it out later, if you know what I mean. Why is this doing this? It didn't even show up till now. Anyway, you don't know what I'm talking about. Well, maybe you do. You'll figure it out when you see it change right before your very eyes. The New York Times has, I wouldn't call it a mea culpa necessarily. I would just call it a better late than never. Well, or not, because they put an article. I saw this article and I'm like, why now? Why are they suddenly figuring out that they done messed up? They done screwed things up. Good old New York Times. See, is that working? I can't tell. Try the white balance. Oh, wait, why is this stuck? There we go. That's better. It's whatever. Anyway, you may or may not have noticed what just happened, but I fixed it to a point. Hey, how you doing? Happy Monday. Hope you had a good weekend. Mine was good. The best part of my weekend was my granddaughter's 3rd birthday. Yay! Oh, what the hell happened there? What is going on here? The volume. Let's try that again. Oh, there we go. Now I can hear it. That was kind of annoying. Anyway, as we gear up to episode 1500 a week from today, just a reminder. I just wanted. I was thinking, gosh, I should probably start promoting that. And so I'll do something during the week to remind you. But if you can tell your friends, tell your neighbor, tell everyone you know that our 1500th episode's coming this next week. And I'm going to start the show probably an hour early that day. I don't know if I can go late. I'll figure it out if I can reschedule some stuff. But I certainly can start early. We'll do a 2.5 hour show instead of a 1.5 hour show. So, and of course I'll be late for being there. But so a week from today, the show will be starting at 9 Eastern time as opposed to 10 Eastern time. And 1,500 episodes. It snuck up on me because I was realizing that I was numbering these episodes. I'm like, oh wait, I'm at 489. That means I'm going to be at 1,500 pretty soon. So anyway, there you go. And I do have the, at least part of this adorned in green. I can't wear green while I'm on the show because of the green screen, but I can put green in the thumbnail up here and up there. And so there you go. And why would I put green in the thumbnail? Well, happy St. Patrick's Day to the Americans who like to get drunk and to the Irish who actually kind of see it as a holiday. I don't know if it's a big drinking holiday in Ireland. It certainly is here. And also, I'm in a city where we have a massive St. Patrick's Day parade in the city of St. Paul, Minnesota. Not quite like Boston, but they do a significant St. Patrick's Day parade here. Right side of a bar. Basically goes down what is it? What was that? Down Grand Avenue. Which is goes right in front of O'Gara's Garage and a couple other Irish pubs that in a significantly Irish section of town. She must be here. I hear my wife sneezing. Usually I can't hear from down here. Anyway, happy St. Patrick's Day. That's going to be kind of one of the main topics, or at least the number one trending topic today. But before I do that, first, Avocados Diablo's already sponsored the show with something here about Serbia, by the way, which makes you
are the new Streamlabs superstar sponsor of the day.
Yes, that would be AB, dropping a small bullet, saying things in Serbia are getting interesting since the people got fed up with the government corruption. Not that it has been much mentioned here. This is a decent video you should watch if you find a free 30 minutes or so. We'll tell you what, I'll put that video in the links for everyone to see.
In 1880.
Sorry, I didn't mean to start playing it. There's significant protests going on in Serbia. Is that because is that where they overturned the? No, it was Romania where they overturned the election, claiming Russian interference. Was it Romania? No, Bulgaria. Bulgaria where they did that. But anyway, and people in Serbia are getting fed up with some stuff too. So I'll put that link to that video that AD just put in my chat, and we'll go from there. Now, speaking of which, let's say hi to everybody, get the thing started, because I see, well, I'm kind of on time today. I mean, vaguely. So anyway, that's good. But let's say hi to everyone in the chat, and we'll keep it going. Good. First in the chat, of course, also happens to be Avocados Diablo, who gets the bell. Congratulations. Also, good morning to Tex AG007. What's up? It's been a while. Nice to I haven't said that for a while. Also, hello, JB. Lewis is back, becoming a regular, and also very quick on the draw, like in the top 3 people getting here. Good. Also, Mike Savage, our resident Irishman. Blarg. Of course, I am too. I'm half Irish, if you didn't know that. Because all four of my maternal grandparents immigrated here from Ireland. Also, good morning to, who else is here? Said JB. My other favorite Canadian, Unacceptable Views. And on 1, 2, 3, Sierra, good morning, Resolute Germ, dressed up for St. Patrick's Day. Okay, that's his normal Abby, but it sounds good. Also, Somnambule Nation, Aaron Gra, folks. Yep, Lord Stanhope's in the house with, with the little skull. Who else? My favorite Canadian Jaeger Ponies here. Rick Ashbringer, what's up? Good morning also to Tyre, Alexander, the Scourge. Good morning. And Patio Furniture. Well, there you go. There's an Irish name for you. Also, our good friend Scribe Light. Dog Thrapple. Good morning, sir. Nice to have you show up. Let's see. Who else is in here? Selected Boys here. What's up? Good morning also. I said Lord Stanhope, I think. Yes, I did. Somnambule Nation. I did. I'm not 1, 2, 3. Who else is here? Who else is here? Anybody else? Oh, Kesler. What's up, Kesler? Also, Reaction Puerto Rico is here. And that's everyone who's in the list who said something in the chat. So there you go. 22 people, 7 likes. Let's fix that like ratio. Let's get 22 likes. If there's 22 people, there should be 22 likes. Someone fix that right now. All right. Let's get into some stuff. Now, as I said, the special day today, the built-in holiday is obviously St. Patrick's Day. And so now it's interesting because as I scroll through the now I got to be careful because, this is one of those popular topics that someone might decide to show their bits. So I'll scroll through it slowly, but someone says, I will forever share this on St. Patrick's Day. Who all seen the Leprechaun? Say, yeah. Now I'm not sure what this is. Should we play it? Yeah, let's play it. What the hell? If they play this every St. Patrick's Day, we'll see what this is about. Here we go.
Well, just in time for St. Patrick's Day, crowds are coming by the dozens to get an up-close view at what some say is a piece of Irish folklore.
Some people in the Crichton area of Mobile say a leprechaun is taking up residence in their neighborhood. A leprechaun. NBC 15's Brian Johnson has more.
Okay.
Curiosity leads to large crowds in Mobile's Crichton community.
In Mobile? Like Mobile, Alabama? Really? Okay.
If you bring binoculars, camcorders, even camera phones to take pictures.
To me, it look like a leprechaun to me. All I gotta do is look up in the tree. Who else seen the leprechaun? Say yeah!
Okay.
Eyewitnesses say the leprechaun only comes out at night. If you shine a light in its direction, it suddenly disappears. This amateur sketch resembles what many of you say the leprechaun looks like. Others find it hard to believe and have come up with their own theories and explanations for the image.
My theory is it's casting a shadow from the other limb.
Could be a crackhead that got hold to the wrong stuff. And he told him to get up in a tree and play a leprechaun.
What?
We're going to get down to the bottom of this.
What? Wait a minute.
Yeah, still on there, guy. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, man.
This guy helping to direct traffic says he's prepared for his encounter with the leprechaun. He's suited up from head to toe.
This wars off spells right here. This
Oh
is
my
a special
Lord, what is
leprechaun
this?
flute, which has been passed down from thousands of years ago from my great-great-grandfather who was Irish. I just came to help out.
Others just came to get lucky in hopes a pot of gold may be buried under this tree.
Where
I'm gonna
are
run
they
a backhoe
saying
and uproot
this?
that tree. I want to know where the gold at. I want the gold. Give me the gold. I want the gold.
Okay,
This
what?
is Brian Johnson, NBC 15 News.
Okay, I took 30 or 100, a minute 49 seconds of that of my life that I can't get back. Anyway, happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Here's a proper St. Patrick's Day image. Is this this bulldog dressed in St. Patty's Day stuff? All right, there you go. Thank you, Ty Alexander, dropping a small $2.30 in the tip jar. And you are now
You are the
new
new
Streamlab Superstar sponsor of the day. Tyre O'Patrick. Tyre O'Patrick says, top of the morning, ya, P. Remember, St. Patrick was a gentleman. He came from decent people. Timmy Way Holloway. We haul away Joe. Is that a song? They built a church in Dublin town, and it's built, and on it built a steeple. Timmy Way haul away. We haul away Joe. Okay, that must be a song that I don't know. Look, my Irish heritage knowledge is not great. So I'm assuming that's something, some Irish kid song or some shit. Anyway, thank you, Tyre Alexander. Greatly appreciated. By the way, also thank you to all the people who have shared the stream today. I greatly appreciate y'all. Let's take a quick look at that. I'm sure. Oh, you know what? I didn't even put a St. Patrick's Day theme in my Let's Go today, but here we go. Thank you, Tyre Alexander, with the requisite Ric Flair. Woo! Also, the people who shared the show or retweeted my tweet of the show: Tyre Alexander, Scribelight, Resolute Germ, also Reaction in Puerto Rico, JB, Somnambule Nation, and CG. I almost said Amazing Disgrace. I had the wrong avatar. Also Resolute Germ with the is that one of the Road Warriors? Wait, that's Hawk or Animal. It's one of the two. It's one of the Road Warriors. Anyway, or is that Legion of Doom? No, that's a Road Warrior. I can't remember. So, which one is it, Resolute Germ? I'm not sure. Michael Savage, the requisite Let Us Go. Oh my gosh. And thank you, JB, dropping the old samurai from Saturday Night Live. One of John Belushi's great characters. And Somnambule Nation. I'm not so sure I like that one. That's nervous wracking. And then, what is this going on with the tongue? What is she doing with the tongue there? My goodness. Thank you, CG. And then Somnambule Nation, of course, already dropped the show before I did. So there you go. Thanks everyone who's sharing the show. Greatly appreciated. Okay. So other things related to St. Patrick's Day that are trending. Let's see. So here we got. Oh, what is this? What is this? Hey, Ireland, I don't think Zionists are your problem. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Shocks to Mike. I can't speak that. What is this? Okay, what did they put here? Oh, I see. So someone's mad about an Irish Jew. What? Here, let's just play it.
Not welcome in Ireland. Zionists are not welcome in Ireland.
Oh, Zionists are not welcome in Ireland. I'm sure that's your biggest problem in Ireland, right?
Hey, ladies. Jew named Marie here. You turned your country into a public toilet.
We're a laughing joke of fucking Europe.
So I'm not really sure anyone wants to stay there at this point, but two dumpy cows dressed in potato sacks aren't going to intimidate us. So, Chag Sameach, happy St. Patty's Day, and oh right, I hope you ladies are driving tonight.
Oh, good Lord. I didn't know. I wasn't sure what I was getting into there. The last line there, you don't want people to drink and drive, but whatever. So anyway, happy St. Patrick's Day. Wait, March 17th. Nope, still Hungarian. Okay, well, I can actually say that I'm half Irish. Okay, other things trending because of St. Patrick's Day. Luck of the Irish. Luck of the Irish. Did I say Chag Sameach correctly? I don't know. I did. I said it wrong the first time I said it, but anyway. Today we honor St. Patrick and the spirit of Ireland. If you're in New York City, step inside the breathtaking St. Patrick's Cathedral. A symbol of faith and resilience, may the luck of the Irish shine upon you today. So luck of the Irish is trending. And then the other thing trending because of St. Patrick's Day is Leprechaun. And, hang on. Let me be careful here. I'm going to take this off the screen just for a moment to make sure this is okay. Or did they actually, okay. Oh, I get it. This is funny. This is a funny thing they did here. They said, I will forever share this on St. Patrick's Day. Who all has seen the leprechaun? Say yeah. And every time you try to reload it, it doesn't do anything because you can't see the leprechaun. Get it? And then happy 19th to the Crichton leprechaun, the greatest St. Patrick's Day story of the internet era. And that one's not loading either. So anyway, that's why leprechaun is trending. Wait a minute. I just scrolled and saw something I didn't want to see. I'm taking it off the screen. Wait a minute. I am trying to Greek general return. Okay, I'm not putting that on the screen. Never mind. All right, let's talk about saying. An Irishman. Irishman is also trending. Which, wait a minute. What is going on with all these bad links? Let me see what's going on here. Hang on a second. Maybe it's just my internet connection. Is this one going to work? Oh, there's another one. Okay, this is funny. Using that same idea, you have a better chance of meeting a sober Irishman than an intelligent Democrat. And then you click it and you can't see it. So anyway, the dream of a sober Irishman is within our grasp. This is some guy doing science. Anyway, I might actually watch the movie The Irishman tonight. 3 hours of, actually, it's a pretty grueling movie to watch. Probably not. Never mind. That has nothing to do with being Irish. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about a little, what do you call it? Economic news. And I usually have a little economic news blurb at this time of the show. And today's economic news is about Forever 21. Breaking, Forever 21 is set to permanently close all its U.S. stores as it files for bankruptcy a second time. Oh, no. I don't know what to do without Forever 21. I don't even think my daughter ever shopped there. So anyway, it's the second time the chain has filed for bankruptcy as online competition and foreign rivals look to have permanently bury the once leading fashion outlet. Was it? I know a lot of younger women worked there. Forever 21, which a decade ago was seen as a leader in youth fashion retail, is set to permanently close all its U.S. stores as it files for bankruptcy for a second time. In the Sunday release, the operator Forever 21 U.S. unit said foreign competition from fast fashion groups, rising costs, economic challenges impacting its core customers, and evolving consumer trends were to blame for the development. But the time being, the stores and the company and the U.S. website will remain open as the company begins winding down operations and seeks a last-minute bidder for assets. Well, yeah, how do you say formerly 21? That's funny, and they want to stay 21, temporarily 21. Okay, lots of little jokes in the chat. Well done. So anyway, founded in 1984 by Korean immigrants in California, Forever 21 grew to $1 billion in annual sales by 2005. The store quickly became a mall staple for millennials alongside H&M and Abercrombie and Fitch. It's pedophile CEO. Anyway, looking for designer-inspired styles for affordable prices. So anyway, yeah, Forever 21 will finally turn 22 and close its doors. So there you go. CNN, let's see. And then, yeah, CNN has an article on it too. I have two articles open on this for some reason. This is CNN. Forever 21 is going out of business in the United States. Oh, not everywhere? Or is it just in the United States? Brad Sell, the company's chief financial officer, said in a statement, "We have been unable to find a suitable path forward given the competition from foreign and fast fashion companies, as well as rising." Okay, this same line. So there you go. That's why they're closing, because, well, trends change. But it was interesting as I scrolled through this particular trending topic. I found an interesting post here. By the way, good morning, Furry Kitten. Another friend from across the pond. This post fascinated me because I was like, wait, are all these places closing? So here it is. These are companies. Oh, I see what it is. So this is a Democrat in mourning. This person says, these are companies that back Democrats and are closing stores or completely. Please help them. Help them what? Help them what? So they include Denny's. So not completely closed, because I know Denny still has some locations in California. Denny's, Foot Locker, Forever 21, Joann's. That's Joann Fabric. That's weird. Is it Joann Fabric? I'm not sure. Kohl's, Macy's, Lumber Liquidators, Walgreens, TGI Fridays, and Party City. I used to work for TGI Fridays. That's where that was my longest bartending gig, was with TGI Fridays. We've closed a couple locations here in the Twin Cities. They closed 4 locations in Las Vegas. When I was working for Fridays, there was only one Las Vegas location, and I had a chance to work there for a few weeks when I was on what Fridays has what's called a passport program. If you work for Fridays long enough and you are, highly thought of in your job skills, they have this thing called a passport where you can just travel around the country for up to 6 months, and you can pick up shifts in any store along the way. And so I did that for almost 6 months one time in my life, and went west and, basically spent some time in Denver, did some skiing in Colorado, went to Las Vegas, went to several stores in California, went down through Arizona and New Mexico and Texas, and then came back to Minnesota. That was like one of the coolest things I'd ever done. It's interesting traveling on your own for that long, but the cool thing about it is Fridays had this program, and you can, when you go, visit in another place, a lot of people who work in the Fridays where you go know that they have this passport program. So a lot of them will say, yeah, you can crash our couch, or you can, we might have extra room. And so in Vegas, a bunch of the chefs in the back of the house had this house that they rented that had a pool and that had like 6 bedrooms, and we'd always go back to their house and play Dungeons and Dragons, which I had never done before, but I found out that, oh, this game's pretty cool. And then I realized that almost every video game, that you buy has some element of Dungeons and Dragons in it, hit points and shit like that. So that was my first gaming experience. Lumber Liquidators is just rebranding as Wood Pulp. That's funny. All right, let's move on here. So I thought that was interesting post here. Oh, something. Okay, I see what's going on. Maybe it's because I have to refresh all these pages. Yeah, that's what it was. That's why I wasn't seeing the posts in the, let's see, let me try it over here too. That was just a glitch from X, the app formerly known as Twitter. Okay, now all these places are having, oh, good Lord. I'm glad you didn't have to see that. All right, let's move on. The Statue of Liberty is trending. The Statue of Liberty. Apparently there's a French lawmaker, a member of the European Parliament, the French European Parliament, who has called for the United States to return the Statue of Liberty, originally gifted by the French people to mark the centennial of American independence, because he's doing that because he's saying that the United States no longer represents the values that led France to offer the statue. To which I say, French lawmaker person, kiss my ass. Who cares what you think? We have our democracy and our liberty has not really changed. It's just getting a makeover, and it's not really changing. It's because, maybe unless they saw our COVID policies, which I'll get to in a minute. But I'm like, fuck off. Who cares what you think? Someone here says, I must have missed a part where the Statue of Liberty says, give me your rapists, child sex traffickers, gangbangers, and we'll make people living there pay for it all. The French have balls criticizing us when their entire country has gone to hell because of mass migration. So there you go. FTG to that lawmaker. Let's see what this, I like this gal. Let's see what she says. Wait a minute. The French want the Statue of Liberty back. No. All right, let's watch this. We'll watch this video because every once in a while we have to watch a video on here just to keep it interesting and give me time to drink my coffee. By the way, which is in the Brigitte's Cafe cup from St. Cloud, Minnesota. And it's delicious. All right, let's see what what's her name again? Shipwrecked. This creator's handle.
French want the Statue of Liberty back. You heard that right. From
Yeah.
years of bad presidents like
Yeah.
the Bushes and the Clintons and the Obamas, took Trump to get the French to want them to take their statue back. Well, just one guy apparently. You despise it. Le cry. French parliament member is demanding the US Statue of Liberty, claiming that America has lost its way and no longer stands for what the iconic sculpture represents. We're going to say to
please.
the Americans who have chosen to side with tyrants, to the Americans who fired researchers for demanding scientific freedom, give us back the Statue of Liberty, the left-leaning French diplomat Raphael Glucksmann said during a recent convention of his
Raphael
political
can
party,
kiss my
Place Publique, according to the French
Glucksmann.
newspaper Le Monde. I feel like in another life I could have been French. Maybe. Pay me like one of your French girls, Jack. We gave it to you as a gift, but apparently you despise it, so it would be just fine here at home. And the crowd interrupted in cheers. He's also a major booster of the Ukraine war and has sharply criticized President Trump for aggressively seeking to pull back on U.S. support for the effort. And he's pissed off that Trump reduced the funding to colleges and research institutions. He missed the memo where we were giving grants to students and scientists to study how shrimp can run on treadmills, what cat puke looks like on the moon. He also missed the part where FTX fell out and we followed the money all the way back and found out that the Ukraine money laundering thing was just that, a money laundering thing. He wasn't paying attention, but that's okay. No, you cannot have the statue back. You don't get to get it back. That statue is an icon of that one time when we had to beat Vigo, the demon that came out of a picture back in 1989. But I guess if you really want that, like whatever. But I thought the Statue of Liberty stood for like freedom and prosperity and so on and so forth. And if there's any person out there right now that stands for those things on the side of the American people, it's Donald Trump. Like, are you good, buddy? Have you been paying attention? Or are
He's
we
not
sending
good.
some propaganda
He is definitely
over there
not.
that's leading you to believe that things that are not true that are true? Are ya? Are you okay? Because I often wonder what other countries are seeing in terms of what's actually happening in the United States. We got a mandate, right? Like more than
like this is what democracy looks like.
80% of the country voted for this man. It really doesn't get more democratic than that. You can't have it back. She's ours. Fight.
Yeah, fight us for it, bitches. Anyway, so yeah, France trying to repo the Statue of Liberty. We just laugh at their stupid asses. Anyway, actually, and by the way, not all French, just that one particular lawmaker. Glutman, something. He can kiss my glutes. Okay. All right. And then Lady Liberty's trending for the same reason. Now, of course, the people who are anti-fascist put an image like this, Labor Liberty little cartoon, nothing quite captures our current national mood like Lady Liberty with a pistol in her mouth and the back of her head exploding in a Russian-shaped blood spatter. Yeah, not really. Not really. But this person says it's a disturbingly effective artwork, the kind that makes you stop mid-scroll and actually process what you're seeing. Most political cartoons these days have all the subtlety of a foghorn, but this one delivers its message with a haunting visual metaphor that lingers whether you want it to or not. The suggestion that America is self-destructing while Russia's influence shapes the aftermath, that kind of grim, provocative commentary that editorial cartoonists dream of creating, not exactly something that you frame for the 4th of July barbecue. But it's hardly the point. You've got to hand it to the Economist's art team. They've created something genuinely unsettling that cuts through the noise, whether you agree with the sentiment or not. It's hard to deny the raw power of the imagery. Yeah, it's stupid. That's what I say. Anyway, Democrats, when they see egg prices are dropping because of Trump, oh, yeah, the egg prices are dropping again because, they're restocking chickens or whatever. Ooh, Lady Liberty is pissed and I don't blame her. Fuck off, bitches. All right. Anyway, that's what's happening. Thank you, Reaction Puerto Rico. Who says, you want the Statue of Liberty back? Shut down all your nuclear reactors. It's our technology. Yeah, Frenchies. All right, Don Lemon is in the trending thing. He probably said something stupid about black people supporting Trump, I'm guessing. Oh, yes. And people on both sides are posting this, what he said. So here's Don Lemon showing his ass again, which only a certain segment of society even wants to see. Anyway.
It's the same thing that when I see not all black Republicans, but I see a black MAGA person who is carrying Donald Trump's water and they know that he's lying, it is the shortest line to the front. Because if you're black and you're whatever, you're just in line with a bunch of other Democrats that are doing the same thing that you're doing. But if you become a black MAGA person, it's like, whoa, let's book this person, let's put him on television.
So you don't think you can be a sincere black MAGA person?
No, I just said, I don't think that, I just said, I think
Oh, good. That's a good question, Bill. Notice how it kind of stopped Don in his tracks. And look, I gotta, you all know that I'm not a MAGA person necessarily. I mean, I suppose I am by default because I agree with Donald Trump on a lot of things, and I agree with the concept of what he's doing with slashing government because I've been wanting that for 40 years, and he's the first one who's actually doing it. And so, but if I put on a MAGA hat, am I going to get more? Am I going to get more traction than if I don't? I'm supporting what the Republicans and Donald Trump are doing right now. But he's saying that, oh yeah, that's the best way to the front of the line. Is it? Because not really. Because I mean, otherwise you'd see black MAGA people all over the news. But no, the news don't like MAGA people, except for maybe Fox in a way. But no, it doesn't. Now, it gets some people invited to the White House, I've seen, and, I'm sure there's a few grifters in there. Definitely. In fact, there's definitely a few grifters in there. I've been this way since the 80s. So, I'm just saying. Anyway.
Can be sincere Republicans.
But you can't be a sincere black Republican?
I don't think that you can be a rational MAGA, be black and be a rational MAGA person. I think you can.
Why, Don? Now you're just now you're making me want to. Now I'm just gonna start calling myself a MAGA. If this is Don Lemon's thoughts, because you absolutely can. You absolutely can. In fact, you can be a rational MAGA person. Period. That's the problem. Don doesn't believe you can be a rational MAGA person. Don thinks that there's something racial about being MAGA, and I don't see it. In fact, it's the fact that black people who call themselves MAGA are embraced by the movement, maybe says, oh, maybe it's not about race. You know what I'm saying?
Black and be a Republican.
I think they would find that very insulting.
It is insulting.
I mean, the truth is often insulting. It's the same thing.
The truth is often insulting. What a dick. What a dick. We could listen to Rob Smith's. Look, if you go into this section, I'll put Rob. I'm not going to play it, but Rob Smith's reply to that, and I'm not sure. I don't even know what he's saying, but I'm going to put it as a separate link if you want to watch a reply, someone else's reply to that. It'll be right here. All right, moving on. Adam Kinzinger is trending. Adam. Oh, now see, all these links are messed up. I don't even know how. Adam Kinzinger's on because he's making videos. He's pissed at Elon Musk and here, hang on. And I'll tell you why. There's Donald Trump did something that we'll get to that probably has Adam Kinzinger concerned. Although I don't know if it's legal or not. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Thank you, Avocados Diablo. We put another small bull in the tip jar. Now you're again the Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Another small bullet, $2.23 in the tip jar, saying, you know how I know Don Lemon doesn't believe what he is saying? If he really thought that being a Trump supporter was a free ticket to the front of the line, he would be wearing a red hat because there's no free ticket he would pass up. Yeah, that's probably accurate. That's probably accurate. So there you go. All right. So Adam Kinzinger.
Hey, I just had a quick thought.
Here's Adam Kinzinger with a quick thought. I think this is why he's trending. Oh, he's done a couple of these little car videos. He did another one 9 minutes ago. So this was yesterday, Adam Kinzinger, and I think he was on CNN for something the other day. But here, let's see what Adam Kinzinger has to say. Hello, Maddie.
Hey, I just had a quick thought.
Did you have a
Wouldn't
thought?
It be cool if the guy that got $38 billion in handouts from the federal government and
handouts? I know who he's talking about. I bet he's talking about Elon Musk. He's saying that Elon Musk got $38 billion in handouts. I could have sworn a handout is when you get something for nothing in return. I'm pretty sure that government contracts that Elon Musk has to bring people back and forth from outer space and because the people who bought his cars may have gotten a special incentive, but he didn't. I don't know if they'd call that a handout, but let's see what Adam's going to say about Elon Musk.
is now worth $500 billion because of that. Wouldn't it be cool if he was not the guy telling everybody what they can live without and slashing parts of government that people need?
What parts of government? Whoa. Slashing parts of government that people need. I always bring up the transing of people in Guatemala. I'm like, why does my government paying to make somebody trans in Guatemala? What does that mean? By the way, good morning, Selected Boy. I think I already said hi, didn't I?
Boy.
You were already here. Anyway, what? Why do my tax dollar? Do I need the stuff that USAID was doing? Oh, you mean other countries to take? I'm confused, Adam.
America, which, by the way, costs almost nothing and is one of the most effective ways to push back.
Which one? Wait, which one?
Voice of America.
Oh, he's mad about Voice of America. Well, Voice of America used to be like, a pushback against communism, not necessarily Russia, but the Soviet Union, communism, right? But they become kind of a left-wing thing too, just like NPR and all these other things. But is Voice of America still relevant? I know we used it during the Cold War, but is it still relevant now? And he's saying pushback against Russia. Pushback against Russia how?
Which, by the way, costs almost nothing. And
you know what? Here's the thing. Yes, that one thing that they're taking funding from costs almost nothing compared to the rest of the budget. It's less than 1%, 1% or whatever of the budget of the United States of America. Just like they're saying, this one thing was less than 1% of the budget. But guess what? When you add up a bunch of different things, a whole bunch of different things that are just not useful, like that are wasteful, or things that the majority of the American people who voted for thinning down the government don't want. When you add up, like, let's say if it was just Voice of America, well, then yeah, that wouldn't be much. But if there are thousands of things we find that we just don't need, those add up to a significant amount. So yeah, my one pet project that they're no longer going to fund because it's not really relevant to our current situation. You're going to take that away from me, and there's people who get paid, and there might be a veteran who works for that thing, and now you're taking jobs from veterans. That's their new one. You're taking jobs from veterans. Really? When the veteran gets fired from the stockroom at Forever 21, you're taking jobs from veterans too. So that's just an emotional, tear-jerking way to be demagogic about about your favorite things. Anyway, what do you say here?
It's one of the most effective ways to push back against Russia.
Is it one of the most effective ways to push back against Russia?
Propaganda and Chinese propaganda.
Is it the most effective way to push back against Russian propaganda, Chinese propaganda? Is it? I'm serious now. Is it or is it not? Do people get a lot of... Do people listen to Voice of America everywhere in the world? Or maybe there's, a little more efficient way to do it. It's websites and shit. I don't know.
And Iranian propaganda, they're kind of picking a side. Just a thought.
Oh, I see. You're saying that they're choosing the Russians and Chinese and Iranian side. You mean like Joe Biden did when he said, well, a small incursion may not be so bad. Or when his son's making money from the Chinese government. Or when they said, yeah, Iranians, you know what? We're going to give you all this money back. And we don't care what you do with it. Even if you do use it to develop more nuclear weapons. Yeah, who's on their side? You were all fine with that, weren't you, little Adam? You little... whatever. And then but he made one 3 minutes ago. Let's see what he came up with 3 minutes ago. Oh, he's gonna go at Donald Trump. Well, Adam, I know you're not in Congress anymore. Let's see what his latest video is.
So I just saw that Trump is threatening the January 6th committee again. Listen.
You mean the ones that destroyed evidence? The ones that destroyed evidence after their conclusion where they only looked for one thing? Wasn't a very comprehensive overlook of what happened that day, because there's a lot of video out there that were just like, oh wow, I never saw that before. I didn't see them before the violence started, seeing the police shooting rubber bullets into the crowd and tear gas. I didn't know about that from what the January 6th committee said, right? I wonder if anyone would get upset if they're getting hit with rubber bullets and having people beaten with batons before they push back. I wonder.
This dude knows. He knows that this is the thing that embarrasses him. He won't admit it embarrasses him because he's trying to pretend like he didn't do anything. He's obsessed. He's more obsessed with me and Liz Cheney than his frickin' golf score.
I don't think he mentioned your name, Adam. He did mention Liz Cheney.
Hey, Trump, bring it on, dude. You weak, whiny, tiny man who, by the way, I saw a picture
who got reelected.
You're hiking up your pants now to really just below your man boobs, and you're sweating so much. Looking pretty bad there. But bring it, man. Stop with all the big mouth talking stuff. You're a grown man. You don't talk like one, but you're a grown man. Come on, dude. Bring it.
So I guess this is Adam Kinzinger's new tough look, because usually he's crying. Yeah, talk about obsessed. Yeah. Yeah, Donald Trump spends a lot of time talking about you, Adam. That's hilarious. Anyway, what? Every public should be asked about this. What is that? I have no idea what that is. Anyway, who is that? Is that goofy Valentina Gomez chick? Who is? I don't even know who that is. It may be. It is. It's Valentina Gomez. You mean that same Valentina Gomez that's been rejected by the Republicans in 3 different elections? What a moron. Oh my gosh. Oh, and he blocked replies. Oh, what an idiot. Hey, he blocked replies. What a bitch. Oh my gosh, here. Let's see what some of the quote tweets are. Let's view some of the quotes on this one. She doesn't represent anybody. Oh my gosh. She doesn't represent anybody. Oh my, she's a troll. Holy fuck. You mean the troll who has been rejected by Republicans in multiple she's a joke. Good Lord. Anyway, sorry about wasting your time watching that. All right. Oh, Kinsey, I'll keep that in the links today. What a joke. Adam Kinzinger's a fucking joke. All right. Other people. Dan Bongino's trending too. Dan Bongino apparently today is going to be starting his new job as what is he, deputy director of the FBI or something. He's something. Let's see. And I have to refresh all these pages. Dan Bongino has been sworn in as deputy director of the FBI as of 1 hour ago. But there's some people. This guy doesn't like Republicans apparently. Dan Bongino has been sworn as deputy director of the FBI. Today is March 17th, and Donald Trump is the president of the United States of Dumbfuckistan. Really? Yeah, go fuck yourself. Let's see. Trump has made it possible to be above the law, not only having immunity from SCOTUS. The FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino saying Trump should ignore the court decisions because who's going to arrest him? The marshals? Trump controls them. America's dead. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, Bongino did say that. Look, I'm not a fan of that. I'd rather have them go through the entire court process if they're going to block things that Trump does. And but in some cases, you can't. Like, for example, there's we'll talk about it in a minute, but the judge that tried to block some deportations, but the people were in planes already in the air out of United States airspace, and the judge says the judge is going to order them back. Good luck with that. Once they're out of U.S. airspace, I don't know if you even have a jurisdiction to call them back, but I don't know, and let the courts figure it out. But we'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, by the way, and this one I popped up too.
And that includes cutting back on billions of dollars in programs.
So apparently, back in 2011, a lot of people are bitching about Doge. A lot of people are left bitching about Doge, right? And the things that they're cutting. They're looking for government waste or whatever. Good morning, Shrapnel. Looking for government waste, etc. And somebody found this video of Barack Obama talking very much like the current president and Elon Musk and all those people at Doge. Listen to this. I had not seen this.
Everyone knows that getting rid of the deficit will require some tough decisions. And that includes cutting back on billions of dollars in programs that a lot of people care about.
Okay.
But what should be easy is getting rid of the pointless waste and stupid spending that doesn't benefit anybody.
Does that sound familiar? Did you hear that? Getting rid of the programs and the stupid waste that doesn't benefit anybody, or at least doesn't benefit any Americans.
Waste we should be getting rid of, even if we didn't have a deficit. Sure, some of these cuts aren't that big, but no amount of waste.
Oh my gosh! Like Voice of America.
Waste is acceptable. Not when it's your money. Not at a time when so many Americans are already cutting back. Just as families are living within their means, government should too.
Oh my gosh!
Did you know the federal government pays for a
I didn't know Barack Obama used to be MAGA.
Website devoted to a folk music ensemble made up of forest rangers? They're called the Fiddlin' Foresters.
There you go.
I'll put their music on my iPod, but I'm not paying for their website.
Bitch, you ain't putting that shit on your iPod. You know you ain't putting that on your iPod anyway.
And
his iPod? What the fuck's an iPod? Remember those? I had an iPod. I had an iPod Mini, like this, like it's like smaller than a matchbook.
Hundreds of similar sites that we should consolidate or just get rid of. By the way, you're not only paying for websites no one needs, you're paying for thousands of buildings all across the country no one uses.
Oh my gosh. Does this sound familiar? Holy smokes. That's what we've been talking about. They got empty buildings. Government buildings were renting for millions of dollars a month.
For the last decade, the government's owned a massive and completely empty warehouse in the middle of Brooklyn, for example. Now, the government hadn't been able to sell this building and others like it because of red tape and Washington politics that held things up for years.
Well,
but we're finally cutting
earmarks.
through all that and plan to get rid of these buildings in the months ahead.
Wow.
We need to
This
step
sounds
up
like-
our game.
this sounds-
We need to go after every dime.
Hi, Evan S.
We need to make government work for you.
Hi, Renee Mayette.
That's why, starting today, I've asked the Vice President to lead a renewed effort to hunt down misspent tax dollars in every...
Did he say he's had the vice president doing this? Now, who was the vice president when he made this announcement? I wonder.
every agency and department of this government. We're calling it the Campaign to Cut Waste, and I know Joe's the right man to lead it.
Joe who? And how did this work out, I'm wondering?
Because nobody messes with Joe.
There's a new standard by which the government is going to function from this point.
Oh my gosh, I wonder if he's going to stutter. Will Joe stutter during this? Let's see if. All right, here we go, gang. When you hear Joe Biden stutter during this, whatever the hell this is, if you hear him stutter in capital letters, I want you to write ding in the chat. If he stutters, or excuse me, not even if, Joe has a stutter. When he stutters, ding in the chat. We'll count the dings in the chat.
Why not? The American people are entitled to transparency.
Wow.
Look,
He seems
a
pretty
lot of this
lucid.
depends on new, sophisticated methods, but it also, we know, depends on relentless focus on making this a priority. Focus that can't be delegated. We're holding ourselves accountable. And we're deeply committed and focused on making
I don't see any
government
dings in the
function better.
chat.
We're not
Has
just
he stuttered
eliminating
yet?
fraud and waste. We hope to be instilling an entire new culture that not
He
only
did-
our
did he
administration,
stutter?
but every succeeding administration will in fact pursue.
Wait,
We're going to give you the government you expect and deserve.
I don't hear him stuttering. He didn't. I thought he had a stutter. No one's here to make fun of his stutter. I see you putting dings. I didn't hear him stutter. Anyway, holy shit. They actually, Barack Obama actually did that. So there was a Doge before there was a Doge. It was just Joe Biden, right? Thank you, Reaction Puerto Rico, for dropping another 5 spot in the tip jar saying, if it's a U.S. flagged aircraft, the judge has jurisdiction. Did the judge write on the order he wanted the aliens returned, or did he just say it? Well, let's get into that. We'll get into that in a minute because we're going to talk about that. But I want the main topic here. Let's do the main topic first. I saw that Anthony Fauci was trending today, and part of it is because Donald Trump made an announcement on X that all of these pardons that Joe Biden did that were signed in auto pen, he said that they're invalid and void because Joe Biden didn't actually sign them, which is a question of whether or not Joe Biden signed them, if that's a legal thing, like Joe Biden actually has to sign them or what. So there's a controversy on whether or not the J6 committee was actually pardoned, if Anthony Fauci was actually pardoned, Kinzinger's, Cheney, all these people that he gave blanket pardons to, but they were all signed in auto pen. Okay. And so Anthony Fauci's trending. That's one of the reasons he's trending. But then in this section on Anthony Fauci, I ran across this New York Times article as I scroll down right here. This was in the New York Times editorial page yesterday. And again, it's editorial, it's a guest editorial, but whatever. It's not necessarily the opinion of the New York Times, but it is an editorial that appeared in their paper regarding, well, something that has to do with Anthony Fauci. The article's entitled, "We Were Badly Misled About the Event That Changed Our Lives." So I want to go through this article. It's not super long editorial. It's long enough, but whatever. So let's go through this because I'm really intrigued by this. I'm really intrigued by this. Hello, K-Shaw. What up, Kirsten? How you doing? So this is written by someone named Zeynep Tufekci, opinion columnist. So this is apparently a New York Times opinion columnist, not a guest one. I may have that wrong. Let's see. Zeynep Tufekci is a professor of sociology and public affairs at Princeton University, the author of Twitter and Tear Gas, the Power and Fragility of Network Protest, and a New York Times opinion columnist. So she is an opinion columnist for the New York Times, but also a professor at Princeton University. So here she says, since science began playing around with dangerous pathogens in laboratories, the world has experienced 4 or 5 pandemics, depending on how you count. One of them, the 1977 Russian flu, was almost certainly sparked by a research mishap. Some Western scientists quickly suspected the odd virus had resided in a lab freezer for a couple of decades, but they kept mostly quiet for fear of ruffling feathers. Yet in 2020, when people started speculating that a laboratory accident might have been the spark that started the COVID-19 pandemic, they were treated like kooks and cranks. Many public health officials and prominent scientists dismissed the idea as a conspiracy theory. That took a minute. Insisting that the virus had emerged from animals in a seafood market in Wuhan, China. And when a nonprofit called EcoHealth Alliance lost a grant because it was planning to conduct risky research into bat viruses with the Wuhan Institute of Virology, research that, if conducted with lax safety standards, could have resulted in a dangerous pathogen leaking out into the world, no fewer than 77 Nobel laureates and 31 scientific societies lined up to defend the organization. So, the Wuhan research was totally safe, and the pandemic was definitely caused by natural transmission. It certainly seemed like consensus. Oh, science by consensus. Now, we have since learned, however, that to promote the appearance of consensus, some officials and scientists hid or understated critical facts, misled at least one reporter, orchestrated campaigns of supposedly independent voices, and even compared notes about how to hide their communications in order to keep the public from hearing the whole story. And as for that Wuhan laboratory's research, the details that have since emerged show that safety precautions might have been terrifyingly lax. 5 years after the onset of the COVID pandemic, it's tempting to think of all of that as ancient history. We learned our lesson about lab safety, about the need to be straight with the public, and now we can move on to new crises, like measles and the evolving bird flu, right? Wrong. Wait, wrong. If anyone needs convincing that the pandemic is only an accident away, check your recent paper in Cell, not Incel, but in Cell, right? Recent paper in Cell, a prestigious scientific journal. Cell is a prestigious scientific journal. Researchers, many of whom work or have worked at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, yes, the same institution, describe taking samples of viruses found in bats, yes, the same animal, and experimenting to see if they could infect human cells and pose a pandemic risk. So they just were trying to do that shit. Now, it sounds like the kind of research that should be conducted, if at all, with the very highest safety protocols, as W. Ian Lipkin and Ralph Barrick discussed in a recent essay. But if you scroll all the way down to page 19 of the journal article and squint, you learn that the scientists did all this under what they call BSL2 plus conditions, a designation that isn't standardized and that Barrick and Lipkin say is insufficient for work with potentially dangerous respiratory viruses. If just one lab worker unwittingly inhaled the virus and got infected, Wink, wink, if. There's no telling what the impact would be on Wuhan, a city of millions, or the world. Oh, wait. Did we not? Now, you'd think that by now we have learned it's not a good idea to test possible gas leaks by lighting a match, and you'd hope that prestigious scientific journals would have learned not to reward such risky research. Why haven't we learned our lesson? Maybe because it's hard to admit that this research is risky now, and to take the requisite steps to keep us safe without also admitting it was always risky. And perhaps we were misled on purpose. Uh-oh. Take the case of EcoHealth, that nonprofit organization that many of the scientists leap to defend. When Wuhan experienced an outbreak of a novel coronavirus related to one found in bats, and researchers soon noticed that the pathogen had the same rare genetic feature that the EcoHealth Alliance and Wuhan researchers had proposed inserting into bat coronaviruses, you would think that EcoHealth would sound the alarm far and wide. It did not. Were it not for public records requests, leaks, and subpoenas, and the world might have never learned about the troubling similarities between what could easily have been going on inside the lab and what was spreading through the city. People were dying left and right. Or take the real story behind two very influential publications that quite early in the pandemic cast the lab leak theory as baseless. The first was a March 2020 paper in the Journal of Nature Medicine, which was written by 5 prominent scientists and declared that, quote, new laboratory-based scenario, end quote, for the pandemic virus was plausible. Why? That was the name of the lab. It's right there on the big sign, the Wuhan bat coronavirus thing. Remember when Jon Stewart did that little bit? It's the Wuhan bat coronavirus laboratory. Oh, it couldn't have come from there. But we later learned through congressional subpoenas of their Slack conversations that while the scientists publicly said the scenario was implausible, privately, many of its authors consider the scenario not just to be plausible, but likely. Oh my gosh, who knew? One of the authors of that paper, the evolutionary biologist Christian Andersen, not related to Hans, wrote in his Slack messages, quote, the lab escape version of this is so friggin' likely to have happened because they were already doing this type of work, and the molecular data is fully consistent with that scenario. Shh, don't tell anybody. Spooked, the authors reached out for advice to Jeremy Farrar. I almost said Jeremy Piven, the actor who I went to college with. No, the authors reached out for advice to Jerry Farrar, now the chief scientist, she blinded me with science, at the World Health Organization. Ugh. In his book, Farrar reveals he acquired a burner phone. What do you need a burner phone for? And arranged meetings for them with high-ranking officials, including Francis Collins, then the director of the National Institutes of Health, and Dr. Anthony Fauci. Documents obtained through public record. Wait a minute. They talked to Dr. Anthony Fauci? Documents obtained through public records requests by the nonprofit U.S. Right to Know show that these scientists ultimately decided to move ahead with a paper on the topic. Oh, they wrote a paper? Hot damn. Operating behind the scenes, Farrar reviewed their draft and suggested to the authors that they rule out the lab leak even more directly. They complied. Anderson later testified to Congress that he had simply become convinced that a lab leak, while theoretically possible, was not plausible. Later chat logs obtained by Congress showed the paper's lead authors discussing how to mislead Donald G. McNeil Jr., who was reporting on the pandemic's origin for the Times, so as to throw him off track about the plausibility of the lab leak. So they were just scumbags lying. Holy shit. Now, the second influential publication to dismiss the possibility of a lab leak was a letter published in early 2020 in The Lancet. The letter, which described the idea as a conspiracy theory, appeared to be the work of a group of independent scientists. It was anything but. Oh, they faked this too? Is this like 51 intelligence officials writing a letter? Is this kind of like that? Thanks to public document requests by U.S. Right to Know, the public later learned that behind the scenes, Peter Daszak, EcoHealth's president, had drafted and circulated the letter while strategizing on how to hide his tracks and telling the signatories that it quote, will not be identifiable as coming from any one organization or person. Because you get a bunch of people to sign it, it's just like, oh, we came up with this letter. But it was actually Peter Daszak himself that wrote the letter. Holy shit. The Lancet later published an addendum disclosing Daszak's conflict of interest as a collaborator of the Wuhan lab, but the journal did not retract the letter. Why? And they had assistance. Thanks to more public records requests from congressional subpoenas, the public learned that David Morans, a senior scientific advisor to Fauci at the National Institute of Health, wrote to Daszak that he had learned how to make emails disappear, hide the decline, especially emails about pandemic origins. We're all smart enough to know to never have smoking guns. And if we did, we wouldn't put them in emails. And if we found them, we'd delete them, he wrote. Cloak and dagger shit. It's not hard to imagine how the attempt to squelch legitimate debate might have started. Some of the loudest proponents of the lab leak theory weren't just earnestly making inquiries. They were acting in terrible faith. Oh, wait. Loudest proponents of the lab leak theory weren't just... this is how they were saying, they're in bad faith for even asking. Using debate over pandemic origins to attack legitimate beneficial science to inflame public opinion to get attention. For scientists and public health officials, circling the wagons and vilifying anyone who dared to dissent might have seemed like a reasonable defense strategy. Now, that's also why it might be tempting for those officials or organizations they represent to avoid looking too closely at the mistakes they made, at the ways that, while trying to do such a hard job, they might have withheld relevant information and even misled the public. Such self-scrutiny is especially uncomfortable now as an unvaccinated child has died of measles and anti-vaccine nonsense is being pumped out by the top federal government. No, it's not. No, it's not. That's such a lie. Now, this is the editorial writer lying. No, there's not anti-vaccine nonsense being pumped out by the top at the federal government. That's a lie. You claim that the anti-vaccine nonsense is there, so that's what you see. That's what you choose to see. Anyway, that's irrelevant. And especially since the COVID vaccines, now that we know, I'm not going to get into that. Anyway, you know what I'm saying about that, right? But a clumsy, misguided effort like this didn't just fail, it backfired. These half-truths and strategic deceptions made it easier for people with the worst motives to appear trustworthy while discerning or discrediting important institutions where many earnestly labor in the public interest. Okay, so this editorial writer just went back to saying, these noble organizations, that they're doing their best. Are they? That's interesting. That's an interesting way to go. After a few dogged journalists, a small nonprofit pursuing freedom of information requests, and an independent group of researchers brought these issues to light, followed by a congressional investigation, the Biden administration finally barred EcoHealth from receiving federal grants for 5 years. They should be barred forever. Now they say, this writer says, that's a start. Barely. The CIA recently updated its assessment of how the COVID pandemic began, judging a lab leak to be the likely origin, albeit with low confidence. The Department of Energy, which runs sophisticated labs, and the FBI came to that conclusion in 2023. But there are certainly more questions for governments and researchers across the world to answer. Why did it take until now for the German public to learn that way back in 2020, their Federal Intelligence Service endorsed a lab leak origin with 80 to 95% probability? What else is still being kept from us about the pandemic that half a decade ago changed all our lives? To this day, there's no strong scientific evidence ruling out a lab leak. Or proving that the virus arose from human-animal contact in that seafood market. The few papers cited for market origin were written by a small overlapping group of authors, including those who didn't tell the public how serious their doubts had been. Only an honest conversation lead us forward. Like any field with the potential to inflict harm on a global scale, research with dangerous, potentially super transmissible pathogens cannot be left to self-regulation or lax and easily dodged rules. As is the case now, the goal should be an international treaty guiding biosafety, but we don't have to be frozen in place until one appears. Leading journalists could refuse to publish research that doesn't conform to safety standards the way they reject research that doesn't conform to ethical standards. Funders, whether universities or private corporations or public agencies, can favor studies that use research methods like harmless pseudoviruses and computer simulations. These steps alone would help disincentivize such dangerous research here or in China or in Ukraine. If some risky research is truly irreplaceable, it should be held to the highest safety conditions and conducted far from cities. Like on Uranus. We may not know exactly how the COVID pandemic started. But if research activities were involved, that would mean 2 out of the last 4 or 5 pandemics were caused by our own scientific mishaps. Let's not make it a third. Pretty please. And that's the article. Wow. Well, 5 years into the thing. Better late than never, I guess, right? New York Times. Anyway, good morning. Now what studios, my dear friend Wu from high school. And we got a few, while I was reading that, we've got a few Streamlabs here. Thank you, Avocados Diabli, again, sponsoring the show. With a small bullet in the tip jar saying, simply using AutoPen would not invalidate anything. People use stamps for signatures all the time on legal docs, and they are binding. So as long as it reflects the deliberate and authorized intent of the individual. Yes, I agree with that 100%. And so I'm skeptical of what the president has said about that, but we'll see how that goes. If it was Joe Biden's intent, that's part of the other problem. We know that Joe Biden wasn't running the White House, at least probably the last year, right? I mean, was he? But yeah, if it's his intent, it's certainly auto signatures, stamps, etc. Have been used as valid ways to sign things. Thank you, Horatio Nelson. Welcome, by the way. Haven't seen you for a while. Texas just passed legislation deemed the anti-anime bill online that blanket bans any depictions of nude children, be they drawn CGI or IRL, regardless of the reason or mundanity, or purpose of free expression. Dragon Ball and Naruto are now illegal in Texas. Are they? Do they have depictions of nude children in those? And why? Why do they? Okay, thank you for that. And then also, Horatio Nelson, another 222, says, I'll bring it up because the language is absurdly broad and evangelicals are already using it to go after classic works, and Texas art museums hosting major photographic galleries that include authors' children's thoughts. Oh, interesting. Well, let's open this up here and see what's going on here. So, Okay, so the Modern releases statements regarding removed Sally Mann photographs in Fort Worth. Earlier this week, photographs by artist Sally Mann were removed from the Modern Art Museum of Fort Worth exhibition Diaries of Home following a police report filed against the museum. After the local Dallas publication first brought public attention to the works, which depicts the artist's nude children, and at the time of removal, the museum did not respond to Glass Tire's inquiries, as the publication here, inquiries about the events surrounding the artworks. Yesterday, January 9th, the spokesperson for Modern, which is the Modern is the art museum, provided the following statement. An inquiry has been made concerning 4 artworks in the temporary exhibits of Diaries of Home. These have been widely published and exhibited for more than 30 years in leading cultural institutions across the country and around the world. Though the statement only refers to 4 artworks in the exhibition, Glass Tire confirmed on Tuesday, January 7th. Wait, January 7th? This is from January. Okay, let's go through here. That 5 of Mrs. Mann's works, Popsicle Drips, The Perfect Tomato, The Wet Bed, Another Cracker, and Sirius, have been removed from the show. All of these photographs show naked children, with 2 of the works depicting full frontal nudity. The checklist for the exhibition indicates that these images are not part of the museum's collection and are courtesy of Gagosian, a modern and contemporary art gallery with 19 locations in the U.S., Europe, and Asia. As the Modern stated, Ms. Mann's photograph of her children have been published and exhibited for more than 3 decades. The photographs in question were taken between 1985 and 1994. In 2018 and 2019, the exhibition Sally Mann, 1,000 Crossings, organized by the National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C., and the Peabody Essex Museum in Salem, Massachusetts, traveled to several U.S. venues, including the Museum of Fine Arts of Houston. According to an exhibition checklist available at the Getty Center, the show did not feature the images removed from the Modern, but did include other photographs depicting Ms. Mann's nude children. Coverage of the show at the time does not indicate that it was met with any controversy. Let's see. I'm going to scroll down because this is just more information about that. Oh, I see. Now, Diaries of Home opened in November 17, 2024, and featured 3 member events and 2 public programs prior to the initial article published by the Dallas Express questioning if the photographs by Ms. Mann constitute child pornography. Through most of its history of the publication was a Black-owned progressive news, or though for most of its history the publication was a Black-owned progressive newspaper, in 2021 it was acquired by Metric Media News, and Monty Bennett, a billionaire and CEO of the hospitality real estate group firm Ashford & Company Incorporated, who the Dallas Morning News has characterized as a Republican mega donor, and he was named as the publisher. Earlier this year, D Magazine reported on allegations from a lawsuit that Mr. Bennett leverages the Dallas Express as his personal mouthpiece. Quickly following the Dallas Express' first article concerning the Modern, they published a second article in which Tarrant County Judge Tim O'Hare and other leaders within the local Republican Party called for an investigation of the museum. This was most recent in the series. Okay, so here in July, the controversial public art sculpture. I'm trying to find what the where the law came from here. So it's going through just a series of events where they've people complained about the artwork because of child nudity. Number of protests, petition lost by Texas Right to Life, an anti-abortion Christian organization whose political action committee supports Republican candidates. The same month, the Lubbock City Council voted to cut funding from an art organization's monthly public program over alleged LGBTQ programming. The issue was raised by City Council member David Glasheen, a Republican who represents the city's 3rd district. While Texas has been a hotbed for these types of issues, at least one other similar issue has risen outside of the state. This summer, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis cut the state's entire arts budget, stating that tax dollars shouldn't go to programs like the Fringe Festival, which is like a sexual festival. Last month, Hyperallergenic reported that East Tennessee State University's Reese Museum was put into place a liability waiver that visitors must sign before entering an exhibition featuring artworks criticizing Republican leaders, including House Speaker Mike Johnson and President Trump's former senior advisor Stephen Miller. Republican lawmakers called for the show to be taken down. The exhibition remained on view, but curtains were added to the waiver. Or curtains were added, and the waiver is now required for viewing. So this article seems to be obviously blaming this on Republicans, but okay, so this is about one exhibit that they've taken down, which, you know, I mean, it's a 30-year-old exhibit that I'm going to guess that was not intended to be pornographic. But interesting, though, in this, let's see. They passed legislation, deemed it the anti-anime bill online. Well, let's look that up. Well, actually, we'll look this up for tomorrow because I got one more thing I wanted to get to. Well, thank you, Horatio Nelson. We'll go into this more. We'll get into this more tomorrow. Hello, Gefferolf, which I don't say very well. Goku is frequently naked early in the series because he's a carefree kid that runs around naked beating up monsters. Naruto has sexy jutsu, jokes for a 14-year-old to giggle at. A bunch of Christian evangelicals trying to ruin everything for everyone else again, just like the aughts all over again. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Falwell wing of the party, the what do you call it? The moral majority part of the party, because some of them weren't actually all that moral to begin with. Although I have somewhat conservative social values, I guess, but not completely. Obviously, I don't, I'm not 100% against the legality of abortion. That's my one, I would call my nagging hypocrisy to my political views. Hello, Dom O'Leary, by the way, too. So anyway, interesting though, because I know a lot of anime has depicted imagery, so to speak, that often does not jibe with the moral majority. So there we go. All right, let me get into the last topic here. Oh, by the way, we read through that New York Times article. Here's an accompanying article I'm not going to go into, but I highly recommend you read in the Federalist. To die alone. Never forget what the lockdowners did to us. Now, it's not 100% related to the origin of the COOF virus, but also the fact that if they're willing to lie about where it came from, were they really telling you the truth about, obviously we know they lied about the 6-foot rule, for example. That was just something that they made up out of thin air. Okay, we know that for a fact. They've admitted it, and there's so many things that they did that were probably didn't help at all. Not letting people go out into the sun and be outdoors, and breathing fresh air and vitamin D and all that shit. So we should never forget that these people who lied about allegedly, most likely lied about the origins. Probably lied about a bunch of other shit and put us through hell as far as, the Fauci juice and the social distancing and everything they did about this pandemic. So, and then finally, due process is trending. So as you know, Trump had a bunch of Tren de Aragua gang members deported. Ended up deported them, I guess, sent them to El Salvador. Now, I'm not 100% sure of this photo. They say the people in this is someone who's very against this. And I'm okay. Here's something I'm skeptical about. If they're Venezuelan and you're going to deport them, I would say deport them to their own origin, aka Venezuela. Apparently, some have been deported to El Salvador. Well, where El Salvador has some very strict methods of dealing with gang members. The president or prime minister, whatever they do in El Salvador, has been very strict, putting gang members in prison with no chance of getting out. And so this picture is supposedly people who were residents of the United States that were denied due process. They were rounded up and shipped to a prison in El Salvador without trial, without evidence, simply on suspicion of gang affiliation. And this is someone who's very against this. This was done in defiance of our American courts that deemed the action illegal, except they were already in the air before there was a decision. They could be legal residents. They could be innocent bystanders. They could be asylum seekers. For all we know, they could be U.S. citizens. Now they're trapped in one of the most violent prisons on earth, enduring brutality beyond what most of us can imagine. If you do not find this morally repulsive, then you are morally repulsive. And I'm in the I don't know, it depends category. If they sent criminals back to Venezuela, which I would think would be the more proper thing to do, why would they send them to El Salvador? I'm questioning this. But so now everyone's saying these guys are not getting due process. Now, I'm pretty sure that the people they've been deporting are all confirmed illegal aliens, but I don't know for sure. So let's get into this a little bit. Here's where this has gone. So a D.C. judge has, well, he declared jurisdiction over all of America and possibly the entire planet. Wait, here it is. The ACLU filed JGG versus Trump, the initials of the gang members in D.C. on behalf of Venezuelan gang members in Texas. Again, listen to that carefully. They filed in D.C., okay, where they get a friendly judge, on behalf of Venezuelan gang members in Texas and one in New York, in which they appealed against the possible implementation of the Alien Enemies Act to expedite the removal of Tren de Aragua gang members back to their country. Now, beyond all the other problems with the filing, there are two basic ones. The act hasn't actually been implemented against anyone, including these men, and those men are not being held in D.C. So any judge, no matter his politics, should have kicked the case in one paragraph for lack of standing and the wrong venue. But this is a demand that the government be restrained from something that hasn't been done to people it hasn't been done it to. The plaintiffs' claims they're not even in Tren de Aragua on the belief that it might do it, and the people in question mostly aren't within 1,000 miles of D.C. So Judge James Boasberg, who heads the D.C. District Court, decided to claim jurisdiction over Texas and New York, and then the entire United States by forbidding the Trump administration from removing any alien enemies from the United States, and even ordered planes in the air to return, thereby also imposing his jurisdiction on the whole planet. Why not just declare himself a planetary emperor at this rate? So that's part of the controversy. Okay, so he ordered these, and some of these were already in the air, whatnot. Okay, now Pam Bondi has also slammed this judge. Attorney General Pam Bondi criticized a federal judge who blocked the deportations of suspected members of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. I'm pretty sure these are all the illegal aliens too, by the way, after President Donald Trump invoked the 1798 Aliens Enemies Act. In a press release from the Department of Justice, Bondi issued a statement that the U.S. District Judge James Boasberg had supported Tren de Aragua terrorist over the safety of Americans. Tonight, a D.C. judge supported Tren de Aragua terrorist over the safety of Americans, Bondi said in a statement. TDA is represented by the ACLU. This order disregards well-established authority regarding President Trump's power, and it puts the public and law enforcement at risk. The Department of Justice is undeterred in its effort to work with the White House, the Department of Homeland Security, and all of our partners to stop this invasion and make America safe again. Bondi's statement came after Boasberg ordered the Trump administration to immediately halt efforts to remove those Venezuelan migrants until he decided whether the invocation of the Alien Enemies Act was illegal or not. Not whether it was legal or not, But whether it was illegal or not, that's a quote, by the way. Boasberg noted that any plane containing suspected members on TDA, that's the Tren de Aragua, that was planning to take off or that was already in the air needed to be returned to the United States, according to the outlet. Politico reported that Boasberg's order came in response to a lawsuit that was brought on behalf of 5 named Venezuelan immigrants. The lawsuit brought on behalf, this is from Politico. The lawsuit brought on behalf of 5 named Venezuelan immigrants was provisionally turned into a class action, meaning it serves as a block on deportation of all non-citizens in U.S. custody who are subject to Trump's proclamation invoking the rarely used law. The proclamation is expected to authorize immediate removal of non-citizens that the proclamation deems to be alien enemies without any opportunity for judicial review, the lawsuit says. It also contorts the plain language of the AEA. Arrivals of non-citizens from Venezuela are deemed an invasion or predatory incursion by a foreign nation or government, where Tren de Aragua, a Venezuelan gang, is deemed to be sufficiently akin to a foreign nation or government. So I can see where there'd be a problem with using that particular act, since they don't necessarily represent a state. They represent a group that is definitely detrimental. I'm sure there's other ways to deport them, just because they're illegal aliens, and there's probably a way to do it. But anyway, as Breitbart News previously reported, Trump invoked the 1798 Alien Enemies Act, which allows for the expedited removal of suspected TDA gang members under Trump's presidential action. Invocation of the Alien Enemies Act regarding the invasion of the United States by Tren de Aragua. TDA is described as being a designated foreign terrorist organization with thousands of members, many of whom have unlawfully infiltrated the United States and are conducting irregular warfare and undertaking hostile actions against the United States. So, that's the debate, whether or not he can invoke this act. And then apparently they deported over 250 of these gang members to El Salvador. President Donald Trump posted video Sunday of criminal illegal aliens arriving in El Salvador after his administration deported 250 of them, despite an order issued late Friday by an Obama-appointed federal judge. Trump's team shared a video of the prisoners exiting planes along with a statement the president had posted on his Truth Social platform. These are the monsters sent into our country by crooked Joe Biden and radical left Democrats. How dare they? Thank you, El Salvador, and in particular President Bukele, for your understanding of this horrible situation, which was allowed to happen in the United States because of incompetent Democrat leadership. We will not forget. So here's where I'm at on this. I don't know if he can do this. I mean, fuck these gang members, right? But there is definitely a question. First of all, if it's legal to send him to El Salvador to go to prison? There's a problem with this. There's a problem with this. The results, hey, too bad, so sad, but legally, I don't know if this will if it's the right thing to do. But also, the way the judge did this is concerning too, though, where they go into a jurisdiction where they know they're going to get a friendly judge. The friendly judge, where this case should not be by any stretch of the imagination, it should not be a D.C. judge ruling over this, should be a Texas judge ruling over it. That's fucked. They have been deported, not repatriated. Yeah, true. Yes, they have. So anyway, there's more details about their new internment in El Salvador in this article. Excuse me. All right. And because of that, El Salvador is trending, and they're showing these pictures, and these may be them. Who knows? But there are people very much up in arms, and I understand why they are very much up in arms over this. And it's going to be interesting to see these cases go through the courts. But now what do you do? They're no longer in our country, and they were not in our country when the order came down, and we don't know whose planes they were on either. Were they planes within the jurisdiction of the United States of America or no? If they're out in international airspace on planes that do not belong to the United States of America, now what? I don't know. If they're El Salvadorian and Venezuela is unwilling to take them back, it is legal. Is it? Okay, that's good to know. I don't know the laws here. But there's people really concerned about this. And they have video of them arriving at the El Salvador prison. Some people are happy about it. Some people are not. So you can, there are plenty of links there, and you can check that out. All right. And then finally, this thing about the auto pen, which I'm not going to be able to get into, but here's what Donald Trump wrote on Truth Social. And this is fascinating. So he said, the pardons that Sleepy Joe gave, the unselect committee of political thugs, and many others are hereby declared void, vacant, and of no further force or effect because of the fact they were done by auto pen. In other words, Joe Biden did not sign them. But more importantly, he did not know anything about them. The necessary pardoning documents were not explained to or approved by Biden. He knew nothing about them, and the people that did may have committed a crime. Therefore, those on the unselect committee who destroyed and deleted all evidence obtained during their 2-year witch hunt of me and many other innocent people should fully understand that they are subject to investigation at the highest level. The fact is, they were probably responsible for the documents that were signed on their behalf without the knowledge or consent of the worst president in the history of the country, Crooked Joe Biden. So guess what? Some people are fired up about that. Some people are not, are very angry about that. And I guess we're going to have to find out if Joe Biden knew that he was signing these documents. Because again, the auto pen is not the issue, even though auto pen is trending. It's whether or not Joe Biden actually approved these pardons, or if he's, I'm going to guess that if this goes in the courts, the pardons are going to end up being valid. And this is where someone asked him if the auto pen pardons by the former president are null and void. Here's Trump's answer when they asked him this after a news conference. Or on the plane.
Biden auto pen, are those executive orders, those pardons from the former president now null and void?
Well, I think so. It's not my decision. That'll be up to a court. But I would say that they're null and void because I'm sure Biden didn't have any idea that it was taking place. And somebody was using an auto pen to sign off and to give pardons to, as an example, just one example, but the J6 Unselect Committee. They gave pardons with an auto pen. I don't think Biden knew anything about it. And what they did is they deleted and destroyed all of the information that took them over a year to get. And the reason they did that is because the information was very incriminating about them. Like Nancy Pelosi, it was determined conclusively that she knew about 10,000 soldiers and turned it down. And if we used 500 soldiers, you would have had no problem, let alone 10,000. The young lady that said that I grabbed these powerful young Secret Service agents by the neck. Okay? You know that was a big hoax. It was a lie. And she admitted it. And they deleted everything. So, what they did is criminal. I think we're about...
All right, so that's fascinating. Now, in that statement he just made right there, he said it'd have to go through the courts. So this statement that he made here obviously is going to have to go to the courts before they continue on. So some here, Trump's claim about auto pen pardons is baseless noise. Presidents have used auto pens for decades. It's standard. It's just another distraction from his own legal troubles and vendettas. Focus on real issues, not this circus. So anyway, lots of people showing up the auto pen. Look, if Biden knew that they were signing him, he was signing them, they were using AutoPen, and that's his authority to do so, then they are valid. If Biden did not know, if they can find some evidence that they signed them, and then, oh, wait, we got to go tell them at the last minute that this was me. But he didn't have to. Look, this is a case where he can just lie and you can't question him, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens. Thank you, Reaction Puerto Rico, last sponsor of the show today, dropping another deuce in the tip jar. We'll clean that up later. Who says aliens can be deported to any country that will take them. Okay, well, there you go. Like I said, I'm not an expert in this, and you definitely are, so that's good to know, since he's a former Border Patrol guy. Oh, Nomad's in the house. What's up, Nomad?
Stop. Hammer time.
All right, I think that's everything. I think that's everything I'm going to get to today, because I'm basically out of time. So let's drop the links and get the hell out of Dodge. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all you who celebrate. If you celebrate today in the evening or during the day or whatever, all I ask is that you celebrate responsibly. If you're going out to drink, don't drive. That's what Uber and Lyft are for. Or your mom. You can call your mom. Mom, can I get a ride home? I'm too drunk. Whatever you got to do to be safe, but please be safe tonight if you go out. It's amateur night. I don't go out on amateur nights, so I'm going to be safe. Although I have to, I have choir practice tonight, so I have to come home 9 o'clock. All the weirdos and crazy should be gone, whatever. I know a lot of people partied this weekend because the big city St. Patrick's Day parades were over the weekend. So anyway, be safe if you go out. And y'all have a great day. We'll be back tomorrow. Remember, a week from today, episode 1500. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors. Let's see if we can get 1,000 people to show up. I laugh. I've never had more than 300 watch my show. And that was because I had, I think it was when I had Ricada on. We had 300 here, which was overwhelming for the chat. Here are today's links. And that's it. My name's P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Have a great day. P-Dog Night, and thank you for watching today on the P-Dog Night channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.